Okay, I think I'm live. Not live, but I'm recording. Okay, good. It's been about a week, I think, since I put on a video, so I got to get this out as soon as I can because this is what came to me. It's about living the optimum life. In order to live the optimum life, a person has to integrate and interlock all the details of one's life, and to integrate and to interlock all the details in one's life, meaning all the different things a person has to do, whether it's exercise, study, prayer life, meditative life, the whole bit, to integrate and then to interlock, or to interlock or to integrate is one of the same. And from that course of doing that, a person has to be able to have what's called a long range viewpoint of everything. What I mean by a long range viewpoint, a lot of times it's very easy for a person to fall into a trap thinking that, for instance, what is done today may not have long range as far as ramifications down the line. What I mean by that, and let me clarify that, I'm talking about, for instance, let's say if a person, give you an example, let's say a person with their paycheck, they get paid, they have a paycheck, they decide to go down to a gambling casino, and let's say they blow $5,000, they lose $5,000, okay? They may not think that that's not going to have long range ramifications, but very well could. There's other things too a person sometimes could do today in which they may think it may not have long range. As far what I mean by that, in other words, a lot of times people fall into the trap thinking, well, okay, I blew it, but it's in the past now. Let's forget about it. But no, things have ramifications. So the point I'm trying to make on this is that a person has a set of what's called very powerful positive ramifications. Okay, because a lot of times people fall into and they slip into what's called negative ramifications through making foolish choices. But a person could have flipped that around and make what's called very powerful, potent, positive changes. And through those very, very powerful, potent, positive changes and choices that one makes now could have far-ranging, very powerful, positive consequences. Powerful consequences, ramifications, where it's for the positive, where it builds on top of the other, on top of the other, on top of the other. But you got to keep in mind, though, in terms of what's called the very potent, powerful positives, unlike the negative, with the positive, you got to build on it day in and day out, day in and day out, so it can gather its momentum. Whereas a person's not careful, a person could potentially destroy one's life within one day, doing things which are absolutely stupid. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to say. See, that's the reason why it's very important to keep what's called a very keen eye on all the details of one's life. So let's get into this a little bit more, because this is just going to be a short video for today. So how do you go about building a very powerful positive through what's called interlocking and integrating? Well, first of all, you got to be able to channel the proper energy, the most highest, most spiritual, what I call the highest, most spiritual, illuminated, spiritual, scientific energies into your whole entire bodily system. And the way you do that is through intense, pure prayer, meditation, visualization, cleansing out all the negativity from your aura. So a very powerful meditative prayer life is essential. First thing when a person wakes up. And should it be like that? First thing when a person wakes up, during the afternoon, and before going to bed at night. Okay, at least 3 times a day, I believe. Have I been doing that? No, I haven't been doing that. I'm starting to try to get back on track, trying to do it at least once a day, because I got off track for a while. But to do that first thing, because a lot of times what happens is when a person wakes up, they get ready for their job and everything else. Before you know it, because they may have to deal with issues at the job, or when they go home, dealing with issues at home, or dealing with issues that there, what starts happening is that the person starts falling into the trap of getting very negative and complaining about everything. And that's drawing negative energy. That's not going to really help out. That's just going to add more negative energy to negative energy. So a person, very first thing they have to do is grab hold of what they need to grab hold first thing in the morning. Cleanse out all the negative for the previous day. Draw on the intense positive. Bring that into your workplace. Deal with things you have to deal with in a positive fashion as much as you can anyhow. When you come home after the day, give thanks, pray again, draw on that pure energy, and then before you go into bed, the same thing before you go into bed, because you don't want to go to bed all negative and all that. So at least 3 times a day. Now that's just one aspect. The other aspects is to set up one's life in terms of taking care of what everything needs to be taken care of. Rather is exercise. Exercise is very important. Exercise, diet, financial, economic health. Make sure that you keep communicated with the different members of the family and with different friends when you have to. Make sure that whatever field that you're good at, that you have a gift in, that you develop that field every day, that you do something, that you study more and more, you practice more and more, you do something with that particular field. And keep in mind that you're thinking in terms of what's called long range. Long range meaning that at the one hand, you're trying to gather as much positive as you can, learning what you need to learn, okay, whether playing a musical instrument, studying a particular field, learning a new language. You're doing as much as you can for that one day, but for the long range, you know, to gather that momentum may take maybe a few years, 3 to 5 years, to really start feeling the powerful positive effects, okay? And what you're doing is that you're combining everything. You're combining the spiritual energy, the mental, emotional, physical. You're integrating, interlocking it in, and making it to a consistent pattern all the time. Keeping in mind to control one's thoughts, control one's words, okay? Proper thoughts, proper words, proper livelihood, a whole entire bit. So you're trying to get your life into a very powerful positive, okay? And to do this every single day, and to get into a framework 7 days a week. Now, when I say 7 days a week, doesn't mean you have to necessarily physically exercise 7 days a week. I believe in exercising. If you're going to really get something out of the exercise, at least 6 days a week, 7 days, you let your body rest. But in terms of your livelihood, your spirituality, that's always going to be your 7 day per week. And set in for your whole entire life, your scheduling, what you're going to be doing, achieving positive goals and everything else on a consistent basis. And you're aiming for what's called long range, what I call long range, very powerful positive results. Now, for people who are older like myself, some people may say, well, I've already gone through all that. I already paid my dues in life. I don't want to be doing this. I don't want to be doing that. But see, here's the problem with that. Is that, see, you still have to face the fact that you're going to most likely be alive 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now. And the older we get, the more it pays to build up to starting the positive right now, despite whatever the past may have been, positive, negative, a combination of both, whatever it is. Start right now to build it, so when you get down there, it's more of a positive than you would just let nature take its course. Usually 9 times out of 10, when you let nature take its course, things just get worse. Because nature tends to, how could I say it? Nature tends to go back on itself, meaning to go backward when you don't take control of nature. Human beings are meant to take control over nature, not nature over human beings. I don't know if that makes any sense. So those are my thoughts for today, and I hope this could help out people out there. And I need to start putting out more polls. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. This is, by the way, UFO Bob Satellite Radio, broadcast from coast to coast and internationally on this particular YouTube frequency. Okay, thank you very much. Have a great evening.